would you like to just say to camera what we're doing today?
Well, we're resting today. What's it, day 4 today?
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, day 1 was all eager and we set off from Plymouth. And we camped near a river just on the edge of Dartmoor, which is beautiful. We made a fire. We had our first genuine outdoors camping experience. Well, I did, you know, because I don't really get to camp a lot in London. So that's not real camping, you know, not like you go to a festival, that's not real camping. That's, you know, this is kind of make a fire, cook your food, all that kind of stuff, which is great. And then day 2 we spent with the monks and at Buckfast Abbey, which was a beautiful experience. We just turned up there and no one was there. You know, Mark had gone on ahead because he wasn't feeling too well, and so he kind of made some inroads and did some introductions. Father Daniels came out, spoke to us. He wanted to know what we were doing was genuine walk. We said yes it was. I think they googled us, you know. And then he brought out a huge platter of sandwiches and huge bowls of tea for all of us, and I was feeling pretty lightheaded and dizzy at the time, and we'd had enough, quite honestly. And the idea of walking another half a mile or mile really was almost sickening, and I mean, we literally had just done too much. So Father Daniels brought the tea and sandwiches. We all ate. We set the tents up in and they had these huge grounds with different houses in, and one of the houses had a couple who were on holiday from Devon, and they were actually from Birmingham. And I was just talking about how friendly Birmingham people were. You know, Rachel came out and brought us cups of tea, and we camped literally in their sort of back garden, which was a huge field, and it was beautiful. And we sat down, we had tea with them and hot chocolate and coffee, and they told us their stories. And it was a really great thing. And again, you know, the husband had been abused as a child, and so he was very supportive of what we were doing. And in fact, they came on the walk with us out of the Abbey yesterday, which was kind of a symbolic gesture, but a very beautiful one. They prayed for us, and they and we really felt that as we set off the next day. I felt positively charged. The monks said that we're going to, you know, we asked the monks to bless us, and I think they did. You know, we felt very good. We had the best night's sleep I've had, and you know, Mark was sort of saying, "What, since you came?" And I was like, "No, ever." You know? yeah. I live in London, and when you live in London, you have constant traffic noise. I live not far from the A2, but it's background. You know, you've got the street lamps. There's no chance, and people above us, and they have a wooden floor, so that they were stomping around. So there was absolutely no chance of getting a decent night's sleep. And when I was at the monks, just the energy of the place, it was really, really beautiful, very quiet, and I just slept. And I woke up in the morning refreshed, and that's very rare to happen in London. And so when we left the monks with Rachel and Paul,
so that's a big thanks to the monks from Buckfast Abbey then.
It's amazing thanks to the monks. You know, Father Daniels, Father James, and Father Sebastian, who's the I suppose
guy.
The top monk there. So, you know, they because, you know, they said they had a sign that says no camping under any circumstances. You know, they give you food if you turned up before 8 o'clock because the kitchen was open, and drinks, and you can have showers and that kind of stuff, but absolutely no camping. And so they really made an exception for us. They knew that we were doing something special, and they wanted to be part of it.
Excellent.
And I think that's as much as you can ever ask from somebody. You know, we've had amazing support. I mean, we're here in, you know, Mike's place now, and yesterday, you know, the day before, we were at the monks and stuff like that, and they really wanted to just tell us, yes, we're supporting you, and you know, they were very happy for us to be there. We left the place, you know, clean as we went, because we don't leave any litter, we don't cause any trouble or anything like that. We're very quiet. We don't play music or anything. You know, there was a quiet retreat going on at the same place, and we didn't want to disturb them. You know, it's about being respectful to each other.
Of course, yes.
And things like that. So that's how we're going about this. And now we've turned up last night, and again we'd walked probably, you know, at a too quick a pace again, you know, but we're learning as we go. Our feet were killing us, we could barely take another step. Again, by the time we got to Michael's here, we were just exhausted, weren't we?
We were on our last legs, yes.
We were on our last legs, yeah. And poor old Floyd the dog.
Yeah, he was feeling it too.
Yeah.
Weren't you, Floydie? Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's been very important to learn about how to take care of your feet. what water to drink.
How to take care of yourself.
That's right, yeah. Because yesterday I didn't know about drinking distilled water, and I had said before we left, but because we were in such a rush, again, we're getting the bottled water that we can buy, and we're not getting the goodness from it. So now it's distilled water all the way, and we're learning to looking after ourselves and our feet properly, which is really important. Otherwise, we're simply just not going to make it, and we have to make it. I have to make it.
Well, you're going to make it.
Yeah,
We are.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So he can look forward to seeing you.
They can all look forward to seeing it.
Indeed.
That's the point,
We are expected.
Yeah, and I know we're going to get agitators, and I know we're going to get sort of mean-spirited people on the way, and people are going to come with us, and they're going to try.
Not
and do
so
things.
far though.
No, not so far. But I'm not worried about that, because what we're doing is the right thing,
Absolutely.
and I feel that I'm protected doing this, and there's lots of things that's happened to me over the past couple of weeks that really could have been a lot worse. I found people to be supportive and kind, and all the things I was actually feeling quite cynical about last year, especially during the Olympics, and around that sort of, it just seems to be all about money, and it just seems to be, but that's corporations and that's not people.
And then the inaction of the police for 6 months after you'd made the reports to them.
That's right.
It just leaves you feeling as though there's nothing more you can do, but obviously it isn't.
Yeah. No, and this was just going to be a walk, but actually what it is an education. It's not just about getting to London. It's about meeting people, learning things, learning how to live with each other, being civilised, and I think by the time we get to London, we're all going to be very different people. I've started to change already, and I can feel that, I'm a lot calmer than I was, a lot more chilled out just because of what we're doing. It feels what we're doing is honest and righteous, and it sounds a bit biblical, but maybe that's what it's called for. That's what our ancestors were telling us about. When you do the right thing, good things happen to you.
Absolutely.
It's our destiny.
Yeah. The truth will out in the end.
Yes, it will, and but it needs a little help, and it needs people to stand up for it.
Indeed.
And if I can do that, and I have the ability to do that, then I will. Just not on this subject, but on many subjects. There's lots of information that needs to come out that I have. And that will start getting out. But for me, it's one step at a time. And if we can make the public who have been basically kept away from the truth by the mainstream media, and that's one thing about this, is that all the mainstream media have the story. They've had it
colluded.
for 6 months.
They've colluded.
They have, yeah. Not so much the Express, because they did run a story, but I did another interview the other day, and they didn't run that for the Sunday Express, which is a different sort of team. But they've all had the story. They won't run it, and they're not willing to find a different angle, because I know you can't necessarily out someone before they've been arrested. That wouldn't be right or proper. I get that. But they could certainly be reframing it to talk about my plight, for example, the way that I've perhaps named a politician, and the fact that that I have been threatened and bullied, and I've had to leave my home, and my wife has left me, and all that kind of stuff. And this is now what I'm doing. So some are on board, some are getting on board. By the time we get to London, we will definitely have a lot more doing stories and what have you. We only need one to kickstart it off, and then they'll all run it. So it's just a matter of perseverance. It's early days, but we're all in good spirits, and we're all making our food, and it's beautiful. Hannah's cooking, food for us every night.
Give us a smile, Hannah.
Hello.
Say hello to the world.
Hello, world.
Yeah, so it's all working out. And you know what? We didn't do any planning. I'm not really doing any planning now, because I don't really want to know where I'm going to be. I want to look forward to the journey. And so this started with me and Hannah in the back garden at 1 o'clock in the morning, having a discussion about what we could do next and how we could help people and ourselves as well. And so we came up with the idea of a walk. And it wasn't going to be for charity, because a lot of the children's charities are compromised anyway. And as soon as you get money involved, it changes it. So I thought, well, if people want to donate to their charity, they can donate to their charity of their choice. Do it in our name if you want, but just do that, But support us, come out and say hello. We've had a few honks from cars going by, which is really important. It just boosts your morale, a cup of tea, We're doing it for the reason that people shouldn't be above the law. We can't have a two-tier system. The rule of law has to be for everybody or none of us. And actually, what we've done now is we've discovered that there is a real two-tier system. It's not now just something, a theory, it is reality. There are those people the police will not talk to, cannot talk to. Maybe there are good policemen in this unit, in the paedophile unit and stuff. Maybe there are, maybe they're trying to do their jobs. The Daily Star did a story, I think last year, whereby a policeman told them basically, when he was investigating stories of child abuse and paedophilia, to basically drop it, otherwise you lose your job. It's either you or them. So of course, what do? They just bury the file and they get on with their job. But they feel, you know, tormented by it, and rightly so, you know. So really, the politics of it is that they're not allowed to investigate. The EU has a law now, it's EU law all over Europe, that says all politicians are immune from prosecution. And that's not only the politicians, that's their assistants, that's business partners of them, that's people that are in the meeting. You know, everybody is immune from prosecution for life. So even when they retire, they're still immune.
The ultimate in limited liability.
This is it, yeah. And so it's time to say no. It's time not to be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. I faced my fear. I've seen what these people can do. You know, I was terrified. But you can only be terrified for so long before you either pull yourself together or you crumble. Well, I always pull myself together. And so it's about getting onto my feet and doing something. You know?
As soon as we've mended them.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, absolutely.